Michelle Ruby.
And I'm Larry McCormick, and welcome to Making It. It's great to have you with us. Somebody once said, without hope, there is only despair. The despair of inner-city residents in Los Angeles exploded into violence on April of 1992. Racial anger and a bleak economic outlook pushed the community past the breaking point. But today, there are far more people embracing change in their urban communities, putting hope back into the hood.
Larry, the key to that hope is opportunity through economic development, and that takes the commitment of entrepreneurs dedicated to putting something back into their communities. Today on Making It, we're going to meet two young business operators whose devotion goes beyond their own businesses. They're priming the economic pumps of their neighborhoods, and by injecting a vision of optimism, young people are learning about success instead of mere survival.
You know, Michelle, survival instincts are important, as we've often said before, for any entrepreneur. But real life survival is something Rudy Negrete knows all too well. While at work, he was shot twice at point-blank range and left to die in a pool of his own blood. As he lay in a hospital bed clinging to life, he was consumed by thoughts of eliminating street violence. And while recovering, he made a commitment to start a business that would bring prosperity to himself and the community. Now, knowing that many gang members favor NFL clothing, Rudy's ambitious idea was to approach league officials with a line of sportswear that promotes peace. He wasn't experienced enough to realize you don't just march into the NFL's New York headquarters and deliver your pitch. So that's what he did. Rudy tells our Xiomara Galindo about how he turned tragedy into triumph.
Well, February 3rd of '86, I took a couple 38 slugs in the chest, point blank, from a robber, and I realized at that time what fear really meant. And since then, I've seen, first living through 3.5 months of ICU and 2 major surgeries, I've seen the violence in our neighborhood increase to out of control numbers. And I think about what the kids go through, since I went through it firsthand as a 21-year-old male. I have a hard time seeing little kids covered up, in sheets.
How did being so close to death affect your goals?
I realized after being so close to death that we're all here for a purpose, and that purpose for me was to establish hope by becoming a successful businessman, and then coming back into the community and teaching and building and letting these kids know they can also have that same type of opportunity.
What would you say was your most challenging moment in business?
Everything that could possibly go wrong did, from undercapitalization to product being shipped back to not being able to fund the trade shows and the marketing, to having people say that they want to get involved with this, with venture capital money, and they can back us, and then pulling out at the last minute. We went through everything.
How did a very young guy from Fillmore work up the courage to make a licensing presentation to the National Football League?
The NFL is the largest out of all the pro sports, and for me, though, after being shot and after living through, my tragedy, speaking to anybody, presenting anything that I have knowledge about or anything, I don't have a problem.
What happened when you went to New York and made your presentation, your pitch to the NFL?
It was basically a courtesy call. They were going to see me. First thing they told me was there was no new licenses available. And, that kind of rattled me at first, because we had basically put everything that we had into attaining this license. And I sat back down, took a deep breath, and went for it, and basically said, look, you have this problem. Clothing is being banned in school districts all across the country. It's being associated with gang violence. This is a way for the NFL to bring something back to the community and to these kids that have been responsible for making it the powerhouse that it is. Laid it out. 15 minutes later, the vice president was now paying attention to me, and about 45 minutes later, they were saying, okay, if you are who you say you are, you have friends at the NFL.
What do you hope to teach young people in the inner city about business?
First off, that it is possible to own your own business. You don't have to be the Harvard business graduate. You don't have to come from a family that has a net worth of millions. You can, if you're determined. You can spend 5 to 10 years of your life working 2 jobs, if you have to get that money for, your startup.
Does everybody here believe in the NFL Chill message that if you take the time to educate yourself, everybody here has a chance of being whatever it is that they want to be?
Tell me about this store and your connection to it.
The store that's operating here at the Youth Education Town at Compton it's a miracle to me. The kids here, number one, are excited about the entrepreneurial opportunity that has been provided by the National Football League, the management company, cities and schools. And it goes to prove what I thought, that if these kids were given an opportunity that never existed, that they'd be all over it. And these kids basically own this store. Well, the way we have our working arrangement with the National Football League is they, again, are really supportive of the program, NFL Chill, and don't want this to be a money-making, profit-making program for them. They want to bring this profit back into the community. So 10% of everything sold off the top goes back into building Youth Education Town and expanding it. My corporation, Sixth Man Inc., on top of that, matches that.
How would you say you measure success in business?
Business success for us will be measured in how many businesses we can create, how many kids we can pass on the same entrepreneurial spark, how many programs can be built to help reignite that spark in our community, and how many people out there we can touch with this message of hope, education, and peace.
Our correspondent, Xiomara Galindo, joins us now to tell us more about Rudy and his inspirational story. Absolutely inspirational, Michelle and Larry. And he is a very inspiring young man. You know, Rudy actually died and came back to life. And that experience, of course, changed him permanently. Though he is physically limited now, his passion and determination have no boundaries. He is absolutely fearless in his pursuit of his goals. And Rudy actually went to the NFL a second time with a very dramatic pitch and convinced them to let him expand his NFL clothing line. This year, his company is expected to reach $2 million in sales.
You said he told you that he saw the light, the proverbial light that people see when they're going on to the other side twice.
Twice.
Yes. Flatline twice.
Twice.
It's an amazing story.
And he's still here.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us, Theo.
Thank you, Theo. What a great story.
Well, in just a moment, we're going to meet an entrepreneur who is